So a lot of us here are wondering, this is a massive amount of data, huge amount of data. And what I'd like you to do in a notebook or on a sheet of paper, or if you have your handouts printed out, is just write this little plus sign on a Post-it note or on a little square in your notebook. And in the top left part of this little quadrant, just write in really small letters, just write DF. And in the top right, I want you to put an N. So we have a DF and an N. Bottom left, let's put 6P, just put that there. And on the bottom right, I want you to put LP. All right, so with the DF that we have in the top left, all we're looking for in this conversation is digital flexion, the curling of the fingers in, and digital extension. So if I see flexion, I'm just going to write an F in that little quadrant. If I see extension, I'm going to write a little E. Super easy. But it's one thing to spot it. It's another thing to get the context and know what caused it. So if I do know what caused one of these behaviors, and I'm looking at DF, if I'm looking for flexion and extension, I know exactly what I said when that person's fingers curled in. That's a good thing. I'm going to circle that F, the letter F for flexion. That's me having a data point. I know I'm not going to talk about that again, or I need to overcome some kind of objection. Anytime I know what caused a behavior, I'm going to draw a circle around it. So in the top right, we have needs. So if I have a person in a conversation, I've got this tiny little notepad. I have my needs here. If I see a person that's significance and intelligence, I'm just going to write S/I. And that's it. So I'm building a behavioral profile as we move in a conversation. And on the bottom row, we have 6P. And this is just 6 pillars. If they're conformity, I'm just going to write a CO. If they're novelty, I'll write an NO. If they're social, I'll write an SO. Super easy. And on the bottom, we also have LP, which is lips. And I'll talk to you about all these acronyms here in a second. And with lip movement, there's only 2 things that we really talked about in the first session. That was compression, when someone squeezes their lips together, and insertion, or object insertion, with a pencil or a pen or a finger or a woman sticking her hair into her mouth. Then we have insertion. The compression shows us a need for, the compression shows us withheld opinions. The object insertion shows us a need for reassurance. Compression, withheld opinions, insertion, a need for reassurance. So if I see lip compression, I'm just going to write a C. And if I know what caused it, I'm going to circle it. If I see object insertion, I'm just going to write an I. If I know what caused it, I'll circle it. So right here, just in this little square, we've developed, just with these 4 things, taking everything else out of the picture, just with these 4 things that we've added here, we've developed a comprehensive behavioral profile that a psychologist would not have been able to put together. And I am not BSing you. So in less than just a few minutes, with not even the entire 6MX package, we're just doing 4 things, we have built a comprehensive personality and behavioral profile of this person. So after the meeting, if we'd like, we can go look up the fears if you don't have them memorized. We can look up their 6 pillars. I can look up a little bit more detail on their needs. I can make a little mental note or type it in the notes of my contacts in my phone. Lip compression during mention of deployment. Object insertion when talking about banking and loans. And I know that the next time I have this conversation, I know more about this person than a psychologist would have learned over the course of 6 hours, and it took me 2 minutes. So what I'm going to challenge you to do until our next session is go through a couple of these tonight. And the way that I would suggest that you do it is to have a family game night, or just do it with yourself. Pour yourself a glass of wine, sit on the couch, turn on a reality TV show. A good one is Catfish. It's a bunch of trashy, super trashy people, but it's fantastic, I think. But put on a show, watch an interview or something. But here's the trick. I want you to look for just a couple of these things, and I want you to do it with the sound completely off. So you're watching a show, you have a little clipboard or a little notepad in your hand, and every time you see it, I'll see, okay, I saw digital flexion there. I'm just going to write an F. I saw lip compression. I saw the breathing shift from the abdomen to the chest. And I'm going to write as much as I can about what I saw. So that way, and this is a really good tactic because your brain is not trying to figure out what the context is yet. So with the sound off, you're just teaching your brain to watch the human body. Then we go back and watch it again with the sound on. Now your brain knows which behaviors are about to show up because you've taken a note of it. Your brain knows that you're about to see a behavior. So now it's easier for your brain to start hitting on the context. I saw that digital flexion when the sound was off, but now I know that digital flexion is about to happen, and they're talking about wedding dresses on the show. So now my brain is a little bit faster. I'm just doing these reps to teach my brain, and it gets so much easier to do this on an unconscious level if you do the sound off, sound on technique. So let's go through these acronyms really quick. DF is digital flexion. DE, digital extension. I like to keep the finger movements in one quadrant, so I'll list all finger movements under DF, but it's up to you. N is needs, and 6P is 6 pillars. SH is shoulders. And if the shoulders are relaxed and kind of at this downward angle, if you're looking at me, if shoulders are at a 90-degree angle, that's bad. That's typically fear. So you want shoulders to be at this downward angle right here. So if they're up at the beginning of a conversation, I'll just draw a quick up arrow. If they're up like this and all of a sudden I talk about kids and the shoulders go, oh yeah, while the person's talking, the shoulders fall, I'm going to do a down arrow. I'm going to circle it, and I'm going to say the shoulders went down when I talked about kids. That's a good behavior. I'm going to talk about that at the end of our conversation, the end of our discussion. Next is LP, which is lips. The only thing we're looking for is C and I, compression and insertion. DS is dominant shoulder. Dominant shoulder. And if you remember that dominant shoulder will move back, this is kind of a fighting position. If the person has very strong disagreement, the dominant shoulder is going to start moving back about an inch. This is called a dominant shoulder retreat. BL is breathing location. I'm just going to write a C or an A right here, chest or abdomen. BR is blink rate. You do not need to count how often a person is blinking. But I would highly suggest, beginning of the conversation, you just make an estimation. Does it look normal? Is it fast or slow? And that's just a snapshot. But over time, you should be able to notice it's getting faster or it's getting slower. And our goal as behavioral profilers or hypnotists or whoever we are, our goal when we talk to anybody is a slow blink rate. We want the eyes to blink as little as possible in the conversation. That means we're doing a good job. So if I'm able to slow the blink rate down and I know what caused it, I'm going to do a down arrow and have a little circle around it. If the blink rate looks normal in the beginning of the conversation, I'll just do a little hyphen, just a little dash, normal blink rate. SS is shoulder shrug. So this is when you see both go up or one go up. That means it could mean a lot of things depending on the context, but it probably means that you need to ask a few more questions about that topic. And finally, here on the bottom, we have eyebrow flash. And this is just a check mark. So this is one that's easy to do. if they responded to that initial eyebrow flash at the beginning of the conversation, I'm just going to check it. So what I would advise is get good at just a couple things at once. So if you had digital flexion on here for a couple weeks and you did this every day and you got so good at it that it was automatic, kick digital flexion off the sheet and then bring in shoulders. And then get good at profiling needs where you don't need it anymore, kick off needs, and then bring in blink rate into that block. So we're continuously just working on 3 or 4 things at one time. So we're never getting overwhelmed. We're getting these techniques from our conscious part of our mind to the unconscious automatic behavioral profiling side. This is something you absolutely can do. So just for homework for tonight, take out a quadrant, draw one on a piece of paper. And the good thing about this, no matter who in the world finds this little notes that you've taken for somebody, it doesn't matter because nobody can read it. It's just a code that I invented. Nobody else knows it. It's not some secret military code or anything. I made it all up. And that's the good thing. When I was younger, I used to use a crossword puzzle, and I would fill in behavioral information in a crossword puzzle in military meetings and stuff. So that's what I want you to do until we have the next session. Try to go through, watch that movie with the sound off, see how many behaviors you can see, then turn the sound on. And I think you'll be very surprised how your brain automatically starts snapping behavior and context together like little magnetic Legos that start coming together. And that'll become a repetitive process. And the good thing about most of this is that it doesn't require any extra time. It's not like I'm saying you need to take 10 extra minutes and go do some yoga or anything like that. We're already talking to humans. We're probably already watching TV or YouTube or something anyway. So it's something you can do while you live your daily life. And I'd highly recommend that you try this quadrant out. It's a lot easier to manage so much information and just condense it down to 3 or 4 things. And that's it for today.